And welcome to another episode of the Ball and Foot Podcast. Now, Jason and me creating a thumbnail because we don't know what the heck we're doing. So
we're just trying things. We're just go with it.
Yeah, we're just throwing things out there.
We did say that last podcast, right? That we would try new things. So anytime you came to the podcast, something new would happen. Yeah.
There's something new this week.
Yeah.
Welcome to.
I don't even know what I looked like. So sorry.
I had
say the welcome. I'm sorry.
Welcome to the Ball and Foot Podcast, or no, Red, White, and Blues podcast. This is I'm all, my brain is scrambled right now. Second episode of the week. So we decided this is my main brochacho nacho. He's that way. Jason, how you doing, man?
Oh damn! I was gonna try to. I'm good, bro. Taco. How are you?
I'm doing well. I almost just didn't even do an intro because we just got done recording another podcast, and I was like, wait, this
you were
is another
still feeling the rhythm.
Yeah, I was still feeling the rhythm from it, But yeah. So we decided to do another episode, and we're gonna have a couple topics of conversation this episode. So if you want to get involved, just get in that comment section down there on YouTube. I'm doing exactly.
You just want that in there so bad you're gonna do it on the beginning because I'm not gonna say it.
Like and subscribe. No, we're not gonna be those people though. We're not gonna be those people. So
we should be those people. Everybody does it. Even the cool YouTubers do it. We should just do it.
Or maybe we should be like anti YouTube people and not do it, but just be on YouTube.
Yeah. Let's be anti-YouTube people for now until we can make money getting you to hit the like and subscribe button.
True. You did it. You did it. But yeah, we're going to have a couple topics of conversation. Then we're going to talk about Raheem Sterling. Jason has a essay that he's going to read that he has written today.
It's in here, which means it's not going to come out the way it sounds in my head.
Yeah, and then we're naturally going to transition to our hatred for Matt Law at the end of this episode. So, and then anything else that comes up, since we don't have a match next week, we won't be doing match predictions. Nothing to do there. So just enjoy this episode. Sit back, relax, and we don't know where this is going, but it's going somewhere. So I'm going to let Jason take it away here because he has some things to say about Raheem Sterling. And then we'll get into some more of the stuff. So, Jason, the floor is yours, sir.
Thanks, man. One of the things I like about when we do the podcast, right, is we're kind of after everybody else, I feel like. Because all the other, we're not a big Chelsea podcast, even though we've been doing this. This is our second season. It's just crazy.
Yep.
Which means we've been Chelsea fans for a really long time, but we've been podcasting through the transition of new ownership. And we've seen two radically different teams because we had a mass exodus last year to pay for the mass influx, or last summer transfer window to pay for the mass influx of players we kind of purchased beforehand, and then a lot that we brought in this year, players we've overpaid for, or not. Can you, what looks like we might have overpaid for, but then what we are hoping they'll grow into their transfer fee, I guess, is essentially what we're doing.
Yep. So we can sell them for profit.
Exactly. Yeah. But Sterling is kind of an interesting player because play for Pool, play for Man City has won the things. And I think most people would consider, at least in his time at Pool and City, a very good player. I did hear, what's his name? One of the podcast presenters earlier talking about how Simon Jordan. I did hear Simon Jordan talking about how he didn't think Sterling was a world-class player, but that didn't mean that he wasn't a very good player.
I would agree with that.
And I agree with that as well. I would think, on paper, we paid £47 million for Sterling, who is supposed to be right now at his prime. in the 26 to 28 to 29 range, right? Like that's just before you start hitting the 30 down slump, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Unless
so
you're Ronaldo.
Unless you're Ronaldo.
Or
Messi.
Giroud. Or Giroud. Really, it's Giroud. Giroud's the one.
The only one.
The only one.
So I just think Sterling's very interesting, right? Because like, and to be fair, I think you can go back to our earliest podcasts, if you subscribe and go check it out. And we have never really been a pro Sterling podcast, and I think it's only been less pro Sterling as we go.
Yes.
And I don't think that that's misguided, but it does get weird for kind of us right now who have been very not pro Sterling when Sterling's having like probably the biggest stinker of his Chelsea career at the Leicester game.
Yes.
And it doesn't, like, there's a series of unfortunate events that happen, right? Because Sterling just isn't doing well. Sterling, I don't think, does well most of the time. But he has moments, and we talked about that in the last episode. He has moments where you think that, okay, there's a player that we kind of recognize. But man, this game, just everything went wrong for him. He misses a one-on-one with the keeper. Well, he misses a penalty first after he made Palmer give him the ball for the penalty. He missed a one-on-one with the keeper. He takes too many touches in the box. Every time he gets the ball, it's either a bad trap or he runs the ball right into an opposing player. Sometimes his work rate off the ball is pretty good. Like he seems like a player that you would want to be in the side, but like he's not an impactful player in the way that you're going to get a lot of goals and assists from him. Even though I think he has like 6 goals and 3 assists on the Premier League season.
Yep.
Right? And then like it's like another goal and another assist in another competition or something. I don't know. Or maybe a few goals in some of the other competitions because we actually went further in these competitions than we did last season. Because we were out to City in both rounds last season. So it's only fitting that we get City in the semifinals this season. And Sterling did walk away from the game with an assist.
He did.
And the assist was very good. But everything else around the assist was very bad. Just really bad. Free kick opportunities gone to waste because he skies it. The penalty didn't help him because he did take the ball off Palmer. We kind of discussed last episode that it looked like he kind of pulled a seniority card. All the things. So by the time Mudryk gets subbed out in the 78th minute, and this is where it gets real interesting. And there's been a lot of like ideological, philosophical, what it means to be a football fan talk going on around the interwebs about booing your own.
Yeah.
Because Mudryk gets subbed off at the 78th minute. And Mudryk, to me, like, and it's even more interesting that's Mudryk. Because Mudryk is a player who has never really shown his full potential at Chelsea outside of being very fast. And I think we said that on the last episode, like the episode previous, or the couple episodes back. And I think that like he just hasn't been a player. He's been a player that the Chelsea fan base really wants to succeed. And he's not really doing that. So then he's the player that we come up with excuses for, like out of position, not regular playing enough, all of that jazz, right? So then he gets subbed off, even though he's kind of in a situation where he's doing a little bit better. Like the last several games, he does well. Poch benches him the next game. He does well. Poch benches him the next game. Daniel's alluded to that on this podcast several times, and it's a valid point because it is a pattern that has seemed to happen. So Mudryk did really well the last game, and to Daniel's point in the last episode, the only reason Mudryk didn't get subbed this time is because Enzo was out and we needed somebody in.
That's right.
So
he had to play. No other choice.
Yeah, he had to play. So when he gets subbed out, the fans boo. And because I think Sterling had such a bad game that people were booing. Like I think they were booing several things in a row. And there was a guy at the there were several people at the match that said it was a lot of fans. It wasn't just like a small contingent that you could hear on TV. It was a lot of fans booing Potch's decision.
Yeah,
and so
because that's what it was.
Yeah,
it was Potch's decision. It was Mudryk wasn't getting booed.
Yeah,
it was Potch and Sterling.
Right. So then it just becomes like, it becomes interesting at that point because, like, for a myriad of reasons, but Sterling has always been known to be a player that's kind of well liked by the other players in the team. Like, I think Malagusto and Chuck call him, like, you know, their brother, like Papa Brother or something. Like, I think younger players, like, do look up to him in a way. Like, not necessarily in the leadership role that we would want from somebody like that on the pitch, because I don't think that he displays that. And taking the penalty off of Palmer, like, shows that he's not capable of really leading in that way, because he selfishly did that, and that was his call. And again, like, it looked like he pulled senior rank to do so. And then, like we said on the last podcast, the captain needs to step in, because there's a weird dynamic there where Potch hasn't designated a penalty taker. So is it within Sterling's right to take that penalty because he earned it? Well, I don't think he earned it. I think he whiffed.
Jason stated that emphatically on the last episode.
It's just It's just so comical. Like, Sterling just finds himself in these comical situations that I don't understand, because somehow he succeeds in them. But then he screwed that up. Sterling, that's one of the worst penalties you'll ever see.
Yeah, it was bad.
And so then it gets interesting, because is Mudryk that much better than Sterling? But Mudryk hasn't had the opportunity Sterling has had.
Right.
And so, like, what are the fans booing, right? Like, are they booing the fact that Mudryk's going all? I think they're booing all of this, right? Like, they're booing the fact that Mudryk subbed before Sterling, and they're also booing the decision that Potch is making. And it's not like they're necessarily booing. Like, it's more along the lines of, like, why aren't you taking out the bad player, and why are you taking out a player who has potential? And
who is even playing,
and that's how I read it.
Match? Who would even have a better match than Sterling had? So at least, I mean, like, statistically, I guess Sterling had an assist. I think he's created more big chances than anybody else. So statistically, I guess he did have a decent match. But he's got a free kick. He missed a penalty. He took the ball. There was all this culmination of stuff, and Mudryk really hadn't done anything to deserve to be taken off.
Yeah,
and Sterling had done stuff to be deserved to be taken off.
So then that's where it gets interesting, right? Because, like, does the player's confidence, and Sterling's old pro at this, man. Like, Sterling is a professional. We need him to be a professional. We need him to perform like he did at the other clubs. And granted, it goes in the transition that we've been in. He's basically played on two different Chelsea teams, like completely different Chelsea teams since he's been here. But, like, how much of his confidence, like, because I was watching Football Therapy talk about this too, and he was saying he didn't think Sterling just came here to retire and collect a check. And I would say, watching the match, like, Sterling clearly is frustrated with himself that nothing is going right. Like, I would think that you get to the highest level of your sport, you would want to continue to perform at the highest level of your sport. I don't think any of the players on our team are, like, trying to phone it in. I just don't think they have the mental wherewithal to, like, stay with a game for 90 minutes. And Potch doesn't help that with whatever he's saying in the halftime talks that he's doing. But, like, does it shatter the player's confidence if you take him out? And does that set a precedent for the team if you take him out? And Potch, I think, at the end of the game was saying, hey, look, I'm not stupid. I know how to coach. Like, I'm taking out the players that I think need to be taken out to fit the situation of the game. But then Matt Law writes this article. And I haven't read the whole article, to be fair, because I read the first line and got pissed off. And
that's all it takes, man.
And I'm going to read some of it when I let Daniel talk here in a minute. But the first line of the article was basically like, hey, is this all too soon to be reacting this way? And then Simon Jordan was like, I don't even want to pretend to be in the mind of a Chelsea fan. Because I think that it just is a faux pas in the sport. Like, it's an unwritten rule. You don't boo your own players.
But is it?
I feel like more often than not, people are going to look down on the fact if you boo your own players than if you
I agree.
than if you do. Like, so I would say it's a faux pas.
Wrong? But is it like
that? And that's the question. That's the real question.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Is it wrong? And I don't think so because of the context we're in right now with how the club has operated over the course of 2 years. And we can get into all that, and that would be like hours long worth of discussions about how we got to this point. But the fans are clearly frustrated. And somebody else said it, maybe it was on one of the podcasts I've already mentioned, where they were just kind of talking and they were just like, yeah, Poch, you kind of got to read the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I think we all know that you're supposed to be a good coach, and then you do these things, and we're not like you're looking at things that we can't see as fans on the pitch. Like, y'all are analyzing games in ways that we can't always analyze the games, and you're thinking about positioning in ways that we're not always thinking about. And I totally get that. And like, football therapy was saying that, some other people were saying that, and I totally understand that. But like, as a fan, like it's just like what he said to fans the other day. Like, you know, I think even if you had your probably your greatest manager here, you would treat him like you're treating me. And like, he just doesn't get it. Right?
He doesn't.
Like and there's another guy on, man, that's going to be bad that I don't know who that is, but there was another coach talking about, hey, when I was a coach, I pandered to the fans once and it was bad. It went badly. I try not to do that. And I get that. Like, you, as a coach, you're trying to do what's best for the team. We would trust you to do that. It just doesn't always read to like, but he also, we talked about this last pod or episode, like, it doesn't read like he's wanted to even ingratiate himself to the fans, and he was already under a bigger burden being a Tottenham manager for so long. Yeah. And then saying in an interview that he wanted to go back to Tottenham, like in a pre-game match that he was doing for us, he was talking about itching to get back. So I think that's the situation that the fans are in. Like, like everything's askew. We are in a transition. But we keep being told, no, you just got to trust us. And we're 2 years in now. We're 2 years into this process, and we're 2 years into watching Sterling play with arguably like some very seasoned players who won the Champions League and a group of kids. And he hasn't been able to establish himself in either team. And if he is so good with the younger players, this would be the team that he should establish himself in. And he's not a player that can be relied on. He's not a player that is consistent. The only thing he's consistent in is not being injured.
He was injured last year for a spell.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He was. So it's like, until last year, he would probably consistently not injured. He's been fine this year. But like, he's not a player you can rely on. So if you're leaving him in, and he like clearly is trying to exert some will on the pitch, and it's very immature and it's not going well, I don't care like what kind of person he is off the pitch, like at some point it looks to us like you are favoring him. And then his press conferences are very favorable towards Sterling. I wouldn't expect a coach to come out and like just completely slag off a player. And then Sterling sent out that apology message, and I kind of felt bad for him because like that kind of like, I would rather him just not apologize. Like, and I agree with we ain't got no history. Yeah, just don't say anything. Like,
just don't say anything.
You had a really crappy day. Like, it's up to you to do better next time. But you have other players that are coming to his defense, which I would expect. Because, like,
which is good to see.
He's like their big brother. Like, so that gives a sense of camaraderie. Like that lets us in a little bit to see the sense of camaraderie. So it's like, but yeah, I don't disagree with the fans that are booing. Like, like we at the time that happened, it looked like we were throwing away a game for the upteenth time in 2 years under 4 different managers.
You're up 2-0.
So. Yeah.
And you've let them come back in the game. And you've shown no signs in the second half of showing any life. Like, you're going to score. So, I don't know.
So anyway, that's basically it. Like, I think this is a more nuanced situation, and everybody wants to like cry foul when the fans are mad at their own players or their own coach. And we're talking about a coach who doesn't seem like he cares and is just telling us he's like, you better just trust me.
He's giving us lip service, essentially.
Yeah, and it's reminiscent of Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't like that either. So it's been 2 years, man. Like, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I watched The Athletic and like how they were talking about how Mikel Arteta has built up a team into the champion or to a title contending side, and how like the points in his career, like the games that he won, that had led to him having a say, more of a say within the club dynamic of who to bring in and what the transfer policy is going to be. We don't have that because we bought $1 billion worth of players and then tried to bring a coach into it and then tried to bring sporting directors into that. And we haven't built up anything like this. We just brought a bunch of things together and hoped that it worked out because we spent $1 billion. So that's where we are in the minds of a Chelsea fan. Like, we're constantly under this pressure of, do you support? Do you not support? Do you hope? Do you not hope? Is it going to go well? Is it not going to go well? How much time do you give? How much time do you not give? Like, that's where we're at. We're just in a constant state of confusion all the time because managers play players out of position constantly. We have constant injuries. Like, a player does really horribly on the field, like, because he created situations to do horribly in. and then he's the guy who doesn't get taken off at the end. And so I'm trying to look at it from all sides, but I think like right now the Chelsea fan base, they're frustrated. They're a frustrated fan base.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Being gaslit by a bunch of people and by the Chelsea propaganda machine. And then we can talk about Matt Lahr now. That might be a good segue into that, and I can stop rambling. But I think right now we're all just confused, and I think the booing is just like a primal yawp from that. So that's how I would describe it.
And that's exactly what it is. It's just frustration bubbling over. And like Sterling didn't help that his last during that match that he just had a stinker of a match. But he's also had a lot of stinkers this year. Like, he'll have a good one here, and then he'll have about 3 or 4 bad ones. And he'll have a good one and 3 or 4 bad, whatever it is. But, like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, what do you want the fans to do? Would you rather have fans that are passionate about their club, that actually care about their club, or they're just plastics that are just there because it's the cool thing to do or it's the cool club to support currently? Or would you rather have fans that will express themselves, that do show that they care about the club? Because ultimately it comes down to it, who spends the money at the club? It's the fans. Like, the fans, we're the ones that spend money. Like, we're the ones that help support the club. We're the ones that help pay the players. We're the ones that help maintain the bridge. We're the ones that help, we're the ones that buy the merchandise. We're the ones that go to the matches. So it's like, and it's like you said, Poch is just continually, over and over again, just shit on the fans. And it's like, he doesn't care. And he wonders why people get frustrated with him and why people are booing and why people say the things that they say about him. It's because you have done nothing to endear yourself to the fans. You don't go and clap the fans after the match. You're halfway down the tunnel by the time the whistle's blown. Like, you don't go over there. You say you want to go back and coach Tottenham. We hate Tottenham. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Yeah, you are a mid-table coach, but that's all you'll ever be. You're not this savant. If you were, you would have trophies. You would be Pep. Yeah. Your name would be said in the same sentence as Pep, as Klopp, as Ancelotti. Like, your name would be mentioned with those, but it's not, because you're an average manager. Like, you try and make yourself out to be something you're not, and then you don't endear yourself to the fans, and it's just, it's like you said. And see, I think his take on things and with the fans is worse than Potter's. Is worse than Potter was. Like, yeah, Potter was just robotic and showed no emotion in his press conferences, like, and even on the pitch a lot of times. But I never felt like Potter didn't care as much as I feel like Potch doesn't care. Yeah. So it's weird. Like, I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic. Yeah. But yeah, I think fans have every right to boo. They paid their money to go to the match. And now there is a line that you can cross. You know, I think when you start, you know, anything racial, anything that going after a player's family, anything that has to do outside of football, other than what has occurred on the pitch, I think is egregious and wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're booing their performance, you have every right to do that and every right to express yourself like that. So, I don't know. And then, yeah, the propaganda machine gets turned up today because of all this controversy that happened. And then this is the thing. I don't even feel like it was that big of a controversy until Potch addressed it in one of his post-match interviews. I think it was with the BBC. He addressed it, gave a long dialogue of word vomit and how we need to support Sterling and, you know, trust the process, more of this and that and whatever. And it's the same stuff every week. And we just need to trust that he is a good coach and he knows what he's doing. But, which is just ridiculous. But then, you know, today you wake up and you're like, I get on, first thing I do, I, you know, check my email for work, whatever. And then I'm hop on over to X and I'm like reading, and it's like just quote after quote from freaking Matt Law. And all these quotes from this article that he has written. And it is just like, what are you doing, Matt? Like, and it's clear what he's doing because it's clear that he is in Boley and Iqbali and Clear Lake's pockets and that he is working for them. He can say that till he's blue in the face that he's not and that he's an independent journalist. I don't believe it for a second. He's a propaganda arm of this Boley regime. I'll take that to my deathbed. I don't care. But he just he unloads his article about booing and how it's toxic and this, and I'm like, it's not. You're missing the point. Like, you're missing the point. Like, go interview the fans and ask them why they were booing. Get their opinion on it. Let them express themselves. Don't just call us toxic because we booed a player.
Right.
It's like people are acting like this is the first time anybody's ever booed somebody. I'm just like, what are you, like, have y'all ever watched sports in your entire freaking lives?
Yeah.
Have you ever watched sports? Because people get booed all the time.
Like, well, and
all the time.
He keeps saying how quickly the fans have turned.
Yeah.
How quickly the fans have turned. Like, this is almost 2 years. Matt Law doesn't know how long the season is. Because he thinks halfway 6 games is halfway through. Yeah. But still, like, this isn't that quick, right? Like, this is a lot of buildup over the course of an entire season. Like, we've played over 30 games this season. Like, with Potch, not counting preseason.
Mm-hmm.
And we've watched Sterling play almost every game since he's been here, outside of the injured ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't that quick.
It isn't. You summed it up earlier when you said it's a culmination of stuff. It's exactly what it is. From the fact that the British government made us sell our club to a bunch of dumbass American owners that nobody wanted, to now realizing that they're even greedier than we thought they were, to making terrible hires, to buying dumb players and spending $1 billion on nothing, essentially. Maybe you've got some good youngsters in there. And then hiring Potch, a former Tottenham manager, because you wouldn't hire Nagelsmann because Nagelsmann wanted to be able to pick his own players and have more control over and say over who was going to come into the team, which makes sense because he's the freaking manager and he should have input into that. And you don't hire one of the best young and up-and-coming managers. Instead, you go for the guy that was already behind the 8 ball when he came in here because he was a former Tottenham manager. Like, he has no history at this club. He has no connection to this club. And then he says dumb stuff every week. It gets dumber and dumber, like, every week. And so, you wonder why we're frustrated. You say you want to win, but you don't. Like, you're here to make money. You're a venture capitalist firm. Your goal is to make money. That is, you make money. You don't care about winning trophies. Oh, but he won. The Bobby cared about the Dodgers and won with the Dodgers. Nobody cares. It's freaking baseball. It's a completely different sport.
Yeah.
It's a completely different way you do your setup. A completely different way that you do stuff. Like, there are no financial guidelines or restraints in baseball. Oh, you have to pay a luxury tax. They don't care. They'll pay the luxury tax every year.
Yeah.
We have to abide by financial guidelines in football.
I mean, Forrest just got popped 4 points.
Yeah. Forrest got popped. Everton's been popped. City has 100 bazillion charges against them, but they'll never be popped. So.
But it's I mean, it was proven when they did their little movie stunt for Argyle.
Yes.
At whatever game
Thank
that was.
you. That is a perfect example of it, Jason. Yeah, the Argyle movie stunt is a perfect example of what they think of this club.
Yeah.
That is a perfect example of what they think of this club. So, I don't know, man. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in a weird situation, man. Like, we're in a weird situation where we could be going. We still have a chance to go to Europe next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll still think Poch is not a successful manager because of the eye test.
Yeah, well, and because
I don't care if we win the FA Cup. If we have a manager who's pining for Tottenham, I would rather just not have that manager.
That's my thing. Is like, I don't want a manager here that has one foot out the door already at another club or wants to go back to another club. Like, I don't want somebody. I want somebody that wants to be here, that wants to win, that wants to prove himself and prove to be a winner and win us trophies. Like, it's crazy. And like, and that's the reason I don't want him back, even if he goes to Europe. It has nothing to do with the fact that, oh, Poch got us to Europe, he should get more time. No. Like, do we not listen week in and week out to these interviews that he gives and how just how terrible they are and how, I mean, I'm not going to say degrading to the club, but I'll say it this way. I think he has a sort of arrogance to him in the way that he speaks to the fans. He has an arrogance, like he knows better than all of us, and he knows, and he probably knows tactics better than us, but he doesn't know Chelsea better than us. He doesn't know what this club means to people. He doesn't get it. And that's why I want him gone, is because of that. And I haven't really seen us improve this year. But
we haven't.
But the main point is I want him gone because of the way that he disrespects our club in every stinking interview that he has. And it's an arrogance, and I think he has assurance from bowling them that he's getting in the year, so he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's just going to say whatever he wants to.
And I think that, like, you see Jackson, you see Gusto, you see Palmer, throw in a smattering of the other guy. Like, you could see Caicedo, you could see Enzo growing into roles. If we had some of the really big signings in our defense back, like Fofana, who's constantly hurt all the time.
Yeah, going on 2 years now almost.
Yeah, like if you
play for Chelsea,
like you could see some of those players kind of growing into what we were hoping for at the beginning of the season, because you and I were just all about, like, I guess we'll see. Yeah. And in some aspects, I think that we are. And I'm convinced that with a better coach, they would be better.
I agree. Yeah.
So after seeing the glimmers of hope and then just bemoaning the fact that they had to play under Poch, like that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, because I'm with you. I don't think Poch gets it, and I don't think he could ever get what Chelsea is. And I think that 1,000% affects his management of this team.
It does. And it's like, and that's what he doesn't get, that's what rubs us the wrong way more than anything else, is the fact that he doesn't get Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what pisses us off. And that's why we boo you and tell you don't know what you're doing, because you don't know what you're doing, because you don't understand this club. You sit there and say you want to win trophies, and it's about trophies. You've won like 3 in your entire career. I don't care.
Yeah. Bring me back a manager who raids the freaking megastore before it comes out.
Exactly. Yeah, like,
I'm not saying I want Tuchel back. I'm just saying, like, I think Tuchel was a fan favorite because it looked to us like he cared. And
he endeared himself.
Then we've gotten a series of managers who haven't seemed like they cared. Yeah. And, like, of course, we got Frank back at the end of last season, but then Frank just, like, checked out. Like, I don't know what Frank was doing. No, Frank was collecting a paycheck.
Frank's not a good manager. That's the thing. Like, you can be a good manager and then just you sort of supersede the club or whatever. Like, but you can also love the club and just be a shit manager, and that's what Frank is. Like, Frank loves Chelsea. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah,
but the dude is just not a manager. He had Everton in relegation zone. He about put us in the relegation zone. That's impressive. 2 teams in the relegation zone in 1 season. And the fact that and that just shows me that the owners don't care about this club, that they're just pandering. Because nobody in their right mind, if you're running a business, sees this manager bankrupting this business and is like, and you're starting to head toward bankruptcy and is like, I'm going to hire that guy because he bankrupted that other business and I want him to bankrupt nobody with a business sense, with any logical reasoning, would hire Lampard in that situation. But you get why they did it, because they wanted to get back in the good graces of the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Because they realized that they screwed up, because they fired a fan favorite who may or may not have been the best man for the job. I'm not advocating that. Then they run a smear campaign against said manager with the help of Matt Law. Then they hire Potter, who the fan base was, I would say, probably majority in favor of. This podcast was not. We're not a fan of 6-tier Swedish managers coming into our club. I thought Potter was very mid. And then he proved to be that. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, we've screwed up so bad in our first 9 months at this club. What are we going to do to fix this? And they're like, oh, well, let's bring Lampard back. That'll get the fans on our side because everybody loves Frank Lampard.
Yeah, it's bad.
And then that just adds, and see, this is all the frustration just built up and built up and built up.
Yeah, it's just incompetence after incompetence. Like when you start seeing it on the pitch, and then you start seeing a manager like still praise that incompetence. I mean, it just gets hard to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because every match we play is a good match.
Yeah, there's no way.
Do you not watch the matches? Are you blind? So I don't know, but like it's like we've had those managers, and the managers that fans tend to support more are the ones that that have endeared themselves. Why do you think fans want Moo coming back right now so bad? It's not because he's like a good manager. It's because he endeared himself to anymore. Let me put that way. He's not a good manager anymore.
I know what you meant. Yeah.
Just want to clarify for the listeners out there. Anymore. Let me add that at the end of the sentence. He was once a great manager. He was the special one. But he endeared himself to Chelsea fans. Even after he went and cheated on us with Tottenham and United, we would still take him back with open arms. But because he endears himself to us. He understands what it means to be Chelsea. Like Conte was like that. That man was freaking stage diving into the stands whenever, we would score goals. Tommy T was running up and down the pitch, just with his hands up in there, like being like manager. And then you had Sarri. He didn't endear himself to the fans. Nobody liked Sarri. Like he just sat there and chewed his nicotine sticks the whole match.
Yeah. Sarri did win us our Europa, though.
He did. He did win the Europa League for us.
And then went to Juventus?
What did Juventus? Some Italian team. I don't know.
And then did bad.
Yeah, did bad. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And then, we've had... everybody loves Ancelotti. Ancelotti Ancelotti is like just like a professional. I feel like like he's just an ultimate professional. Like he's not gonna get into the squabbles that Mourinho would get into.
He's just pretty class.
He is. He's just a class act manager, and people respect that. Like, and that's the thing is like you don't have to be some carbon cookie cutter copy, but you at least need to have some class about yourself. You know, like look at Ancelotti. He's got class. Be like that guy. You know, I'm not saying you got to run up and down the pitch line. It would probably help, you know, but I at least expect you to go clap the fans after every match. At least, especially if it's an away match.
Especially if you're a former Tottenham manager.
Yeah. Yes. You've got a lot more work to do, sir.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we can get him gone fast enough. I mean, I think we've settled with him lasting the season. At this point, I'm fine with it. But yeah,
it is what it is.
The mood around everything because of him is in my view really really upsetting. And I don't fault nor am I surprised that the fans booed him and his decisions at the weekend. So
yeah, and I mean like that's the thing. It's like people are like rallying around Sterling. That's fine. I have no problem with that.
I think Sterling is a professional. Yeah. I think that he was very unprofessional in just about everything he did on Sunday. So yeah, I'm not surprised that people rally around him. I think he has a great reputation for a reason.
Mm-hmm. He is. And I mean, like, he is a professional and he does, you know, he carries himself well, I think. And I'm with you. I don't think I would have posted that on social media afterwards. I think I just sort of let it be.
I just don't think it was necessary.
I don't think it was necessary either. He just sort of, you know, but I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, I think fans are entitled to express themselves in any way, shape, or well, not in any way. Let's draw the line. There are certain things I think cross the line, and they should not say. Not that they don't say them things, but they should not say those things. There's a line
in that Matt Law article. Part of it was representatives are telling the players not to look at social. I just thought that was a rule anyway. Like, don't look at social. Like, don't. Because I mean, there is a toxic side to every fan base. Yes, Chelsea's no exception. So.
Yes, yeah, we're not gonna sit here and act like our fan base is all high and mighty and we don't have toxic fans and stuff like that. We do. Every club does, like you said. But it's like you said, stay off social media. Social media is the cesspool of the world. Yeah. It is where the incels live. Yeah. You don't want to mix yourself with the incels, you know?
Yeah. But speaking of social media, follow us on X.
Yeah. Do whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that about wraps up this episode. Jason, do you want to we didn't talk about this. I'm about to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
We talked about it last episode, but we hadn't talked about it before we started recording this episode. Do you have a movie that the fans can watch with us so that we can discuss it next time we're on this podcast and give our international movie break review?
Yes. I do have a movie.
Uh-oh.
You're going to love it.
Oh, man, I hope.
This is harkening back to our old high school days.
Uh-oh.
Back in the day when you had WWF Raw and you had WWE on at the same time. And you had to flip channels. But you got 1 hour of uninterrupted WWE. Is this what you thought I was going to say, or did you have another?
No, I thought I know where you're going now. I thought I thought you were gonna, because we watched the famous Shaolin Soccer back when we were in high school for the first time, and I thought you were gonna go with that, but no, you took the wrestling route. The old Monday Night Wars. So I'm assuming is this a movie with one David Arquette in it?
Oh, dude! If only. No.
Oh, it's not this that movie. One? Oh, is it different?
No, this is a more recent movie.
Oh, it's a more recent movie. Okay.
This is not Wakey Wakey Hands Off Snakey.
Oh.
That movie is pretty great. Ready to Rumble is a pretty great film.
It's a low key fun.
It's really stupid, but
it is so.
That's
stupid.
why it's great.
Exactly.
No, this was a recent movie. It was well received.
Okay.
It is from last year, like December of last year, and it is about wrestling. I don't think it's not quite in the vein of like Raw and WWE and all that stuff. I mean, I still to this day I'm like, too sweet. Like I still will like Eric Hall throw my toothpick. Yeah, and then I went back and forth, man. Some days I was like pro Wolfpack, and some days I was not. I was always pro DX. Like
yes,
I always loved DX. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How
just
are you not?
DX chopping everybody in school?
Yeah.
You know.
Those are the days. I love it so much. Old days, man.
Those are the days.
But no, the Iron Claw.
Yep.
Is supposed to be a pretty good film, and I have been wanting to watch it.
I've been wanting to watch it.
I think we're gonna like it. So I say that one. I think it's a little more serious.
Yeah.
Than something like Ready to Rumble. But if I just say we could do a double feature. You can watch Ready to Rumble and the Iron Claw.
We could.
And I would be okay with that, actually.
I would be fine with that too.
Okay. Wrestling double feature.
Wrestling
Ready
double,
to Rumble.
I like this.
Iron Claw. Let's talk about it. It's gonna be great.
Well, we have 2 weeks, don't we? Isn't the international break 2 weeks, or is it just when? Do we play again?
Essentially, like our next game is the 30th.
Yeah, so we have to record.
We play Burnley on the 30th. The 30th is on a Saturday, so April Fool's Day is when we will be recording.
Yeah, so we'll record 2 episodes next week again, and we'll just do one movie review for one and one movie review for the other one.
Yeah. That sounds amazing.
And we'll put them out in the next week. Yeah, double feature. Yeah,
dude, I'm gonna have to go. I got to see Bret Hart at a Comic-Con recently, and like, I mean, and it's sad. It's a little sad because
he's an old guy.
He's a little older, but man, his memory is so sharp. Like he could tell you things that were happening in matches and like specifics and like all this stuff, and like I think I would get my mom to pay for some of the pay-per-views back in the day.
Oh,
like yeah. 30-ish bucks or something. Or
they're 50 now.
I don't know.
They're 50
okay.
now.
So, and I would record them on 2 tapes, so there was always like a part of it that we would miss because my first tape would run out, and then I'd like pass them around school, and like Daniel, you're like the first to get them, I think.
Yep.
And but I think we've had the one where Owen Hart died.
Yeah.
Like that was at a pay-per-view, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Bret was talking about his brother and how his brother was like a prankster and how he would like to put his fingers in like tuna fish and like soak them before a match. And then like while he was like had you in a headlock or something, he'd rub his fingers under your nose or whatever. And so he like was very lovingly telling these stories about how much he loved to wrestle with his brother. And so anyway, that was kind of nice. So it kind of brought me back. So anyway, in remembrance of that, I loved Bret Hart. I loved Owen Hart. I loved everybody back then. There were so many great personalities back in the day. I haven't kept up with it, so there might still be, but like at least we kind of watched it during a golden age, I think. So
yes, 100%.
So watching a couple wrestling movies, I'm gonna have to go back and watch some pay-per-view stuff, like some replays of some old matches. I got to see like an exhibition one time, like. And it was like a nothing, right? So like none of the belts were going to change or whatever.
It was a house show.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a house show. But like Stone Cold was there. It was the WWF show, and Stone Cold was there. It's not WWF anymore, but you know
WWE because the Panda people sued.
Yeah. Or WCW. I was trying to say it was WCW, right? And then WWF. Or the two warring ones, yeah.
Those are the two big promotions, yeah.
Yeah. But man, I got to see some personalities there, and like that was back when Stone Cold was there, and Owen was there. I don't know, it was cool, man. So anyway, yeah, if you're up for wrestling double feature,
I'm up for. I'm always up for wrestling double feature.
Wrestling's not. Sorry,
it's not.
I'm not gonna scream that.
In recent wrestling news, Sting retired, had his last match a couple weeks ago, and I definitely watched it, and definitely did not cry at the end of that. Definitely teared up a little bit. Sting was, I was a little Stinger. I was a little Stinger. Sting was always my favorite wrestler growing up. So
no matter what faction he was with, I was still always pro Sting.
Oh yeah, 100%. Crow Sting, and then he joined the Wolfpack. I was always on the Surfer Sting. Whatever Sting it was. I was Sting. I was a little Stinger. So
kudos to Sting. Congrats.
Yeah, wrestled his last match a couple weeks ago.
Wow,
it was a little sad. It's like, dude, but he's like 65 years old, like jumping off of crap. He like went through a table. Like it's nuts. Like he's 60 freaking 5 years old, man. That's
wild, man. It's awesome.
It is. But yeah, we can also bring. I have to go find. I need to find a wrestling shirt or something to get.
Oh yeah, same.
Find something.
I think I had an NWO shirt at one time.
I had a Sting Crow shirt with just his face on it, the crow. I had one of those, and I had a Wolfpack shirt too.
Yeah,
I had a Wolfpack shirt.
Man, that's good. That's some good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Yeah, if you're into nostalgia, you should probably tune in next week because there will probably be a lot of nostalgia on next week's episode.
Yes, for sure.
But you got anything else you want to add, Jason?
No, that's it, man. Thanks for letting me talk about Raheem Sterling for so long.
It's all good, man. It is all good. So tell these people where they can find us at these days, I guess.
Yo, we do hate social media, but we also are very active on it. And Daniel does amazing stuff at X and at Substack. And if you like this video, you can watch it all the time on YouTube. And we're at all of those places, or on all those places, at Red White Blues FC.
It's right down there, guys. Just read it right there. Jason told me I need.
I'm a little like to the side here.
But Jason told me we need to get the X as a symbol instead of the bird, and I refused. I put my foot down, and I said no. I like the bird. Just
the behind the scenes fights that we have here.
Yes,
you're getting
dragging. Yeah,
some BTS.
Yeah. I refused and said, I don't care how much Elon has screwed up. It will always be Twitter. I don't care. The bird it will always be the bird to me. So,
and Daniel won, of course. So he wrestled for it.
Yes. If you have a problem with the bird, you can take it up with me because I like the bird.
Little backyard wrestling. We threw tacks on a table, jumped off a trampoline.
Yeah.
I jumped off the roof, missed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've been having cramps lately. Yeah. Light bulbs for sure.
Yeah.
It's great.
Barbed wire.
Daniel won.
Forget the barbed wire.
Don't forget the bar. We should show them our belt one day. We'll show them what our belt looks like that you and I have made for each other that you won. Yeah. You know, we play for the Rubber Duck on the podcast. You have the championship belt in your house that we've made for our backyard wrestling adventures.
Oh yes, that belt. Yes.
Yeah.
Got you.
You'll have to show them one day when you're ready.
We'll have to show them one day. Yeah. If y'all get us to 1,000 likes on this video, we'll show you our wrestling belt.
Honey, we got to make a belt.
Get the video to 1,000 likes, brother.
Copacetic.
Ooh, yeah. Oh man.
Okay, I'm gonna spend the next week just watching wrestling videos.
Jeez. One of my favorite current wrestlers is in the Iron Claw. MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He is actually in that movie.
Dude, you'll have to give me you'll have to catch me up on next episode on like the state of wrestling.
On every I don't watch WWE anymore. I watch AEW, which is like a new promotion. It's very similar to WCW. Like
nice.
Very similar. So that's why I watch it. But MJF and AEW, he was a champion for a while, is actually in that movie.
Awesome.
I'm glad you brought that up. I've been wanting to watch that movie as well, so I think it's going to be good to watch. It's a good pick. But yeah, follow us on or listen to us Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast at. We're there. Didn't say Amazon this week, Jason.
You did pretty good. I appreciate that.
I did better. I did better. Oh. Oh, thank you for appreciating that, sir. I appreciate that. Appreciate you appreciating that. So
yes.
Yeah, but until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Speaking of flips, I love you, Rey Mysterio. Flippity floppity.